Reading from Matthew 25th chapter, another parable. A man going on a journey called his servants and gave them property. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his ability. Then the man left on his journey. The man who had received 5 talents went out at once, put his money to work, gained 5 more. So also the one with 2 talents gained 2 more. But the man who had received the 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned to settle accounts. The one who received 5 talents brought the other 5. See, I have gained 5 more. And his master replied, Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come, share your master's happiness. And the man with 2 talents also came. Master, you entrusted me with 2 talents. I have gained 2 more. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Come, share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received the 1 talent came. Master, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, gathering where you have not scattered seed. I was afraid. I went out and hid your talent in the ground. Here is what belongs to you. And his master replied, You lazy servant, so you knew I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Then you should have put my money on deposit bankers, so that when I returned I would have it with interest. Take the talent from him, give it to the one who has 10. For everyone who has will be given more. He will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even that what he has will be taken from him. Throw this worthless servant out into the darkness, where there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The word from the Lord in the house of the Lord. What a harsh man, right? In case you don't know what a talent is, it was the equivalent of a 16 years worth of earnings for the man who was given 5 of them. So it was a significant sum of money. But we're not sure we're talking about money, are we? Deborah was a judge, but she ruled over Israel because they did not have a king, because their king had gotten his posterior kicked in a war or two, and they were under bondage. They were tired of that, and they wanted out. So they went to Deborah and said, What can you do for us? And she said, Take 10,000 men, and I'll deliver the 900 iron chariots into your hands. She got them led into a place where they mired down in the mud and were no use in fighting. So you had 10,000 men against 900 charioteers without chariots, which put them at a slight disadvantage, right? And Paul wrote to the church at Thessalonica and said simply, don't worry about dates, don't worry about time, all things will happen in their good time. And then we have Jesus teaching with a parable that's kind of hard to understand, except it's about commitment and it's about involvement. Now, anybody have ham and eggs for breakfast? Just remember this, the chicken is involved in breakfast. The pig is committed to breakfast. That's the difference between involvement and commitment. And it breaks down into our everyday life that we need to get more committed, even though we've been very involved. The guy who went out with 5 talents took all this money and he put it to work. I don't know whether he was a loan shark or what he did with it. It doesn't tell us that. It just says that he made 5 talents. And in doing so, he brought great joy to his master. And the master in return said, Oh, good. You've done that. Now I'll let you make me some more money. I mean, it says that he rewarded him, but he rewarded him with more work, more commitment to the fortunes of the master. And the same thing with the one with 2 talents. He took all he had, all he could use, and did with it what he could. He was committed to making something for his master, and he did all that he could. And the master rewarded him by saying, "Good job, good job." Now the same master praised the one who made him 5 talents, or whatever amount of money that was, and he used the same words with the one who only got him 2. It isn't the numbers. It isn't the numbers that we have in our life that make all the difference in the world. It's our willingness to be joyfully committed to a task that God has in mind for us. I mentioned the turkeys. We gave away 75 turkeys in 20 minutes. And everybody was smiling, except me. I got my finger between 2 frozen turkeys, and I got an owie out of it. But it was amazing. The people didn't crowd, they didn't push, they didn't shove. They knew we were going to give away all we had, and they were happy. They were filled with joy for the moment because they had committed themselves to getting one, and when they did, that fulfilled their joy. Joy is something that can be caught. Joy is something that can be taught. Joy cannot be bought. It wasn't 5 talents of money that made this first servant a good and loyal servant. It was the fact that he had committed himself with joy to the task that the master had for him. And it's the same thing with the one who only got 2 talents. But you realize that 2 talents is 32 years labor, or the results of 32 labors on average. So when he got 2 more, he produced for his master the return from 64 years of labor. It's a lot of money, I guess. I don't know. But it was enough of a return that the master said, "Good job, good job," because he had joyfully committed himself to serving the master. And the one with 1 talent even insulted his boss and said, "I know you cheat and steal and rob." I mean, that's what it says, isn't it? You reap where you didn't sow, and yeah. So he accused his boss of being, hope it's God. He made a commitment to the one with only 1 talent, who didn't do anything joyful, who did not make a commitment, who did not produce any effort. He simply buried it in the ground and gave it back. Now, how does this figure for you and me? I'm not going to get 80 years worth of funding and make another 80 years. I'm not going to do 32. I'm not even going to do 2, probably. But what it is simply this. Christ asks us to give up our talents for him and do it joyfully. Because if we don't enjoy, if we don't find great joy in serving Christ, we're just plugging along and burying it in the ground. But if we care enough to make a commitment, then we will be blessed through all time. I could tell you the story of the 3-legged pig. You want to hear the story of the 3-legged? Salesman drove into a farmer's yard and he saw a pig with a wooden leg. And he said, "What's the story?" Farmer said, smartest hog you ever saw. We had a house fire. That pig got out of its pen, came in, opened the door, dialed 911, and rescued us. Smartest pig you ever saw. He said, "Yeah, but what's the 3-leg?" He said, "I got to tell you, that's the bravest pig. We were being robbed at gunpoint, Pig got out of his pen, came into the house, attacked the robbers, stood over them while he dialed 911 and called the sheriff. He was the bravest pig you ever saw. He said, yeah, but what about the missing leg? He said, you got a pig that smart and that brave, you don't eat him all at once. Commitment is what it's all about. Commitment. The chicken is involved. The pig is committed. We need to be right up to here with commitment. Because the greatest joy we can have, the greatest joy we can find is being rewarded with other tasks to do. Because as we serve Christ and touch people's lives, He will ask us to touch more. But if all we're willing to do is sit around, He won't ask us to do anything, nor will He remember our name when the time comes. Joy. Joy is what commitment ought to bring to us. Not the monetary return, not the fame and the fortune, but just the pure joy of being one with Christ. Meeting each other here with a smile. Meeting somebody out there with a smile. Meeting everyone you meet with a smile. To bring some joy to their life because you have great joy in your life, brought about by the fact that Christ has found you a good and faithful servant and will offer you the opportunity to work deeper and deeper into the love of Christ. What joy it is. What joy it is to know that Christ has blessed each of us and made us a missionary. Not to some foreign land, but to a next door neighbor. Not to a country that's beset by poverty and war, but a neighbor who needs a smile. Joy can be caught. Joy can be taught. Joy cannot be bought. Amen. Okay.